Hi, I'm Jessica Lombard, proud superintendent of Huntley 158. Welcome back to another RAIDER Roundtable. Today we're diving into one of the most important foundations of student success, our early childhood education program. From the very first moments of the classroom, our youngest learners are building the skills and confidence that shape their entire educational journey. So what does early childhood look like here at Huntley 158? And how are we setting our students up to thrive from the start? Well, to help answer these questions, we have ECC Principal, Dr. Sheryl Pauwels, with us here today. Welcome, Sheryl.
Hello, thank you for having me.
So, Sheryl, you've been part of the district for a number of years. You've been a steady face. However, you've been somebody who's had a few different experiences and positions within our district. So why don't you first tell us a little bit about yourself and what experiences you've had here in Huntley?
I would love to. So this is my 26th year in Huntley, my 14th year as a principal for the Early Childhood Center. Prior to that, I was an assistant principal at Conley and Martin for 4 years total. And before that, I was a fourth grade teacher in many different buildings because the district has changed quite a bit and grown. So yes, 26 years and 14th principal here with the Early Childhood Center.
So you talked about how you were in a number of different buildings when you were a teacher. Our early childhood program has been in a few different buildings. It's been around for over 20 years. Trying to get that exact date was a little bit hard there. But Sheryl, you've been there for 13 years, and you've seen a little bit of change. You've really helped build that program to what it is today. It's been a really good program, but now we look at this, and it's a great program, and so much of that has to do with you and your staff. Tell us a little bit about what is the early childhood program here.
Sure. So our program right now has about 221 students. We usually grow about 33% from the beginning of the year, and we'll end around 310. Our program is a little bit different than the community programs because it is partially grant funded. It's the district and grant funded. Our students do have to qualify, so it's not open enrollment. Students qualify through either community screenings that we do about once a month, or they may come through early intervention services and qualify for special education services when they turn 3. So all of our students are either qualifying under the Preschool for All grant from the state of Illinois, or as at risk, or they're qualifying for an IEP and receiving special education services.
So tell us a little bit. You said there's kind of a screening they have to qualify. What does that process look like a little bit?
Sure. So it starts off with parents requesting for their child to be screened, and we send them a packet of information. It's like a family history questionnaire. They also fill out some ASQs, some questionnaires just on their child's development. It starts with that, and after that, then they'll come in for a face-to-face screening, which we do about once a month. And at that screening, we just use like a developmental tool just to get an idea on where they at developmentally. And then the state, through Preschool for All, we have an at-risk criteria. So it's sort of like a point system. We look at their family history and then also their developmental stages to see would they have enough points to qualify for the program, or if there's a concern, we may even recommend an evaluation for special education.
Sure. And so they can sign up and get on a list to be screened starting at their 3rd birthday, right?
Correct. Yep. 2 months before the 3rd birthday, they could start their request. And then we will accept students anywhere from 3 to 5 years old prior to kindergarten. Once they're age eligible for kindergarten, then they're not eligible for the program.
Perfect. You talked a little bit about how that was different than our traditional preschools that are in our area. A lot of great programs that are out there. Our early childhood program has some set criteria that it has to have. Students have to qualify, like you said. So not every student would be eligible to come to our early childhood center. But I know that over the years that you and your staff have done quite a bit working with our local preschools. Tell me a little bit about some of that work that you've done and how you're able to support our local preschools, even if students don't qualify for us.
Sure. So we do a lot of collaboration with the preschools. Sometimes it's on specific students. We'll have a release signed so we can collaborate with that team, even go out and do some observations, provide some accommodations and supports in that setting. Other times we might just do general visits to just give overall suggestions and ideas, since we do have social workers and speech and OTs as part of our program. So we can provide like a wide range of different suggestions and accommodations and services. And then also we've also provided some professional development where we'll do some workshops in the evenings and invite some of the local preschool staff to come, and we can kind of teach about maybe how to respond to some behaviors or how to incorporate some sensory integration and things like that.
Fantastic. So you talked a little bit about how you're working with them. There's a little bit of professional development or opportunities to grow together with that. One of the other components that's required by the state, but I think it's one of the pieces that really makes the ECC unique, is that there are so many days that are what we call our parent ed days. Tell us a little bit, what's a parent ed day and how has that been received by our parents?
Okay. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. So it is through the Preschool for All grant. We have 6 days throughout the school year where we don't have school, and instead it's the Parent Education Day. Usually it aligns with our early release days for elementary or sometimes on a Friday. And on those days we provide parent workshops. So it's an opportunity to have parent education on developmental areas. So we might have it on speech and language and how to work on communication at home, for example. And then after the parent workshop part, which we offer babysitting, so parents can bring their kids with them. After that, we'll do a fun activity in the community just to expose them to different things that they can do throughout the community, and the grant does pay for that activity with the families. And then the afternoon is more like professional development for our staff, just like an early release day.
Right. So with that grant, it's more than just educating the students. It's working with our community partners. It's helping to provide resources to our local preschools. It's really working with the parents and giving those resources to them as well, so that they're starting to build those great foundations from early on. But now let's get to the meat and potato, right? The everyday aspect of what we do, and that's working with our students. It's a 5-day-a-week program. But what does that typical day look like for our students?
Okay. Yep. And like you said, it's 5 days a week, so the consistency is really good for our students. We have 2 sessions a day, and each session is 2.5 hours long. So during that time, the students will participate in like a whole group or circle time where they'll do some academics, but then also community building and social emotional work, and also, songs and just different exposure for the students and yoga and things like that. They'll also do a small group instruction where they can really focus on individual skills for students. And then playtime is super important. We have at least an hour of choice time for students to choose where they want to play, and that's where we integrate a lot of their therapies and services and work with them on different pre-academic skills and those foundational skills, and a lot of social emotional and working with our friends and just kind of teaching them how to do school. So besides that, we also have a motor time. So every day that's part of the curriculum. They have 20 minutes of gross motor. We do have a fenced-in playground area and a grass area for them, and then also an indoor motor for when the weather's not permitting us to go outside. But it's a lot of that choice time and play and integrating into their play to work on those services. They also have snack time during their choice time so that they can work on those independent skills with how to, pour their drink and open packages and learn how to do that prior to kindergarten.
A lot of people think, well, we've got to teach all of these skills prior to getting ready to be in kindergarten so that they are reading and all of those things. But you really talked a lot about that social aspect of that play aspect. Why is that so important at the early childhood level?
Yeah, so as we know, kids 3 to 5 years old, they learn best through play. And so we get the biggest bang for our buck if we teach them while they are doing the things that they're interested in. And so you can work on those pre-math and pre-literacy skills while they are playing and they're enjoying it. They don't even realize that they're learning. And also we can work on those interpersonal skills. And so how do we share? How do we take turns? And, all of those skills that they're going to need when they go to kindergarten to be independent and learn during small group, or when the teacher is doing whole group, we're trying to teach those foundational skills, and it's just really important to focus on those while we're also getting those academics in there.
Sheryl, you talked a little bit about as our students qualify for the program, there are different needs that they may have that we address, and we have various staff members that push in and out of our classrooms all the time. What does that look like? Who are they? And what's the purpose that they are playing as they're pushing into those classrooms?
Yes, it's something we're very proud of. So we do call it integrated services in early childhood, and we call our classrooms blended. So we have students that have IEPs and without IEPs, like I mentioned before. And within that, we have a certified preschool teacher that also has special education and the multilingual endorsement. so that they're able to meet the needs of all the students. And then also we have 2 paraprofessionals to support all of those different needs. Students do not have to be potty trained to attend. So there's a lot of different needs that we're working on. In addition to that, we have social workers, speech pathologists, and occupational therapists that push into the classroom. We call it integrated because throughout the day, they're in there for that whole day. Speech is in 2 days a week, social work 1 day, and occupational therapist is 1 day. So they can really work on the students that have the IEP services, but also all of our students, sort of like a multi-tiered intervention system that we can help students prior to kindergarten to really build up those skills and be ready for kindergarten.
And they're really getting used to a variety of different adults coming in out of the classroom. There's so many supports, but being able to see your staff work together, regardless of which classroom, everybody is wrapping their arms around all of the students, and that family approach. And it's just a different feel that you get when you walk into the early childhood center. And those are things that you should be so proud that you've been able to accomplish and build that culture in your building. When we talk about being proud, recently the ECC has been awarded a special award from the state, and that is the Gold Award. Tell us a little bit about, Sheryl, what does that mean? And how was that something that was just so important for your staff when they got that recognition?
Yeah, absolutely. We're super proud of the Gold Circle of Quality. So it's Accelerate Illinois. It's rating all the early childhood programs within the state of Illinois. And they come through, they have the compliance side of it. So they're looking at programming and student-staff ratios, staff qualifications, professional development, all these different compliance areas. But they also go in and observe in all of our classrooms. So it's, kind of nerve-wracking for the staff. They have somebody coming in and they use the early childhood environmental rating scale, and they observe for the full 2.5 hours and give them a full report on how they did. And then based on that and our compliance, the state comes up with what level you're going to be at. So gold is the highest. We're super proud of that, and we actually have been receiving the gold since 2009. Every 3 years they come and do like the full audit and come in all of our classrooms and look at our compliance review. So our staff work very, very hard to not only be ready when they come, but to be doing these best practices all the time. It's really about having that really high quality program. And so we take a lot of pride in that and make sure that we're doing it all the time, not just when the state comes, but of course we're super, super proud to get that gold award.
I don't think it was something that you and I thought would not happen, seeing what goes on in those classrooms day in and day out. Like you said, it is gold quality every day, regardless if it's a monitoring time or not. But it's something that your staff should be extremely proud of. They've worked really, really hard to be a place that often we get calls from other preschools looking to say, how do you do that? How is that Huntley has set that up? And so again, it's really great to have others looking towards what they can achieve. So again, something to be really proud about. Now, Sheryl, your staff, we said works really, really hard for meeting the needs of our students. And part of that is setting them up for success as they transition to kindergarten. Now, again, not every kindergartner is part of our early childhood center, but what are those things that you and your staff do to ensure that transition from ECC is smooth and has really set that foundation for a successful kindergarten year?
Yeah, I think part of it is just that consistency. Our kids coming 5 days a week, being in a building that looks very similar to the kindergarten buildings. We joke that, they're really learning how to do school. So when they go to the kindergarten building, it looks very similar. They know how to walk down the hall. They know how to use the big bathrooms. And so a lot of it is just that consistency and giving them that exposure. But then also, being part of a consolidated district, we have that opportunity to collaborate with kindergarten, with the kindergarten staff, kindergarten teachers, have, conversations in order to make sure that all of their needs are being met when they go to kindergarten, do that collaboration, but then also aligning to the curriculum and expectations that they have in kindergarten. We have that opportunity. So, for example, CHAMPS in elementary, we have pyramid model in preschool, which is aligned to CHAMPS. And so we just have a great opportunity to make sure that we're setting them up for success prior to sending them off to kindergarten.
Absolutely. So, Sheryl, I'm a parent at home. My child is getting ready to turn 3 years old, and I just have some questions that maybe there's social interaction, or maybe there's something going on with their articulation, and they just want to see if their child would qualify or would benefit from our ECC program. What do? How do they reach out? Where do they go to find information? What would their steps be?
So the easiest way is to go on the website. So if you go to the district website and go to schools, go to Early Childhood Center, there is an explanation of our screening process and a button you just click. It says click here to start step 1. And this first step is just to request the information for you to fill out. And then our team would reach out to you to help you with those next steps. So we try to make it as easy as possible. There is a phone number on there too. If people prefer to call, they can call. But the easiest is just to go to the website.
And again, you said that was about 2 months before they were to be turning 3 to be thinking about getting out there and looking at. And then any one of your Child Find team, is that what we're still calling the team as the Child Find team, would reach out about next steps and go from there.
Yes, and we have a parent coordinator, and she's great, so she'll reach out and help families through the steps if they're not sure what to do. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Sheryl, we've talked a lot about the ECC program here. They are just like an existing school in our district, right? While they don't have their own building, they have their own mascot. They're the Porcupines.
Yep.
They've got their own principal and staff and all of those things. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you think our listeners should hear today about our early childhood program?
I think, you had asked earlier too about what we do to set them up for success in kindergarten. Just knowing that we do use creative curriculum, it's aligned with the Illinois Early Learning and Development Standards to make sure that we are preparing our students before kindergarten. We use Teaching Strategies Gold, which helps us collect data on our students, and then we're able to provide families with a report card 3 times a year. So just so families know, like, we are looking at like those standards too, and trying to prepare students. I said, we focus a lot on the social emotional and getting them ready, but we also are working on those foundational skills as well.
Oh, there's components with their phonics or the same things that they would hear at kindergarten, but at an age appropriate level with them. Yeah. And so, definitely we see those things going on. Yeah. Sheryl, being part of this district for so long, having you as a consistent person leading the ECC for the past 13 years, it's been really exciting to see our early childhood center grow and expand and become what it is today. So thank you to you, and thank you to your staff for everything that you do to support our students, to support our community, and to support our families. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
And a big thank you to the Huntley Area Public Library for the use of their awesome recording studio. But before signing off, here's a little fun fact about another unique program the district offers for our family with our youngest learners. Did you know that we have a parent-taught program? It's a program for our district families with children from birth to 5 years of age. It's a drop-in center as part of our ECC program for adults and children to socialize and build community. Kids can play while parents talk with other parents, and kids and families can attend special events and programs together. Thank you for tuning into another episode of RAIDER Roundtable, where it's all students, always. Until next time.